The life of Yuri Katsuki, Yuri on Ice. Yuri Katsuki is a competitive figure skater and is the protagonist of Yuri on Ice. Welcome to the Amagi. In today's video, we're going over the life of Yuri Katsuki. Before we begin, we publish a new video every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. The Amagi's reach stretches beyond just this channel, so if you're a fan of us, please consider subscribing to our other channels and following us on all of our social media accounts. Help us reach our goal of passing 100,000 followers on all of our accounts by the end of the year. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Early life. Yuri was born in Hatsetsu Saga Prefecture, Kyushu, Japan, where his family owns and operates the last bathhouse inn remaining in the town. Yuri began figure skating as a child at Ice Castle with his childhood friends Yuko Nishigori and Takeshi Nishigori. His ballet teacher Minako Okukawa was the one who had recommended him to learn figure skating. Currently, Yuri is a top figure skater certified by JSF, Japan Skating Federation. When he was 18, Yuri moved to Detroit to train under coach Celestino Cialdini and ended up staying there for 5 years. While there, he became friends with his unit, Pichit Chulonont. I hope I pronounced that right. Skate 1. Easy as Puroski, the Grand Prix Final of Tears. Yuri suffers a devastating defeat at his first Grand Prix final, placing 6th and dead last. He attributes the loss partially due to the recent passing of his family dog and his habit of stress eating before major competitions. This loss causes him to lose sight of what he wants for his future, and he becomes unsure about whether or not to continue competitive figure skating. After the loss at the Grand Prix final, Yuri goes on to lose the Japanese Nationals and thus misses out on qualifying for the 4 Continents and World Championship, ending his season early. Several months after his loss, Yuri returns to his hometown of Hasetsu for the first time in 5 years. Immediately after his arrival, he's greeted by his former ballet coach, Minako. She takes Yuri back to his home, where he's welcomed by his parents Hiroko and Toshiya. The first thing Yuri does at home is pay respects to his dog, Vichan, who had died a couple months back. There, he's greeted by his older sister Mari, who asks him if he's going to help out at the family inn from now on. He doesn't give her a straight answer, and she gives up and tells him that if he wants to continue skating, she'll continue to support him. Later, Yuri goes to Ice Castle Hasetsu, where he meets his childhood friend Yuko, who's an employee there. She lets him use the rink for practice, and he in turn shows her the program he'd been practicing since his season ended. Viktor Nikiforov's free skate, Stay Close to Me. Unbeknownst to him, Yuko's triplet daughters are also at the rink, and they filmed the entire program and later posted online. It goes viral within a matter of hours. Thanks to the viral video, Yuri ends up catching the attention of his idol Viktor Nikiforov, who shows up in Hasetsu the following day and tells Yuri he's going to become his coach. Skate 2. 2 Yuris? Drama at Utopia. Yuri is instructed by Viktor that he will have to go on a diet and follow a training regimen to return to his previous body weight. While returning from a run, he encounters Yuri Plesetsky at the entrance of Ice Castle Hasetsu. He learns of Viktor's promise to Yuri and becomes horrified when Viktor announces a one-on-one competition named the Hot Springs on Ice between the two to resolve the dispute. Yuri gets assigned the arrangement in regards to love, Eros. He fails multiple times in capturing the concept of his arrangement. His skills somewhat improve after he begins translating his love for Katsudan on the rink, but feels his performance is still lacking something. He finally ends up going to Minako for help. Skate 3. I am Eros and Eros is me. Face Off. Hot Springs on Ice. Yuri is determined to win the Hot Springs on Ice competition with the stimulus of pork cutlet bowls to bring out his Eros. The Hot Springs on Ice begins. Yuri delivers an alluring performance and wins the competition, meaning that Viktor will remain his coach. It's later revealed that he asked Minako to help him move in a more feminine way using ballet. Viktor stays as his coach and Yuri returns to Russia to continue training under Yakov. Yuri vows to Viktor that he'll win the Grand Prix final, motivated by his win. Skate 4. Like yourself and complete the free program. Yuri practices at his home rink with the help of Viktor. In the hot springs, Viktor suggests that Yuri take out some of the quads in his program, but Yuri argues that he needs the quads to win. Yuri is still having problems choosing a piece for his free skate. He admires Viktor for being able to choreograph his own programs and skate to his own music, but he's unsure of his ability to do the same. He thinks back to his time in Detroit with Pichit. It's revealed a few years ago a conservatory student composed a musical piece for him, but he ended up shelving it. He asks Pichit if he can get in contact with the composer again. Viktor invites Yuri to spend time with him on multiple occasions, but Yuri rejects all of his coach's advances. Yuri admits that back in Detroit, when one of his rink mates got into an accident, a girl that talked to Yuri often hugged him in order to comfort him, but he pushed her away so he could hide his feelings. He says then that despite this, his family has never viewed him as weak. Viktor responds by asking what Yuri wants him to be to him, a brother, a friend, or his boyfriend. But Yuri simply asks Viktor to stay as the person he is now. Yuri receives the finished composition, which he shows to Viktor. When Victor asks him what his musical theme is, Yuri reveals that it is On My Love. The Grand Prix assignments are announced. At Utopia Katsuki, a party is held to congratulate Yuri for making it into the Grand Prix circuit. Axel, Lutz, and Loop offer to explain how the Grand Prix works to Yuri's family, since they're familiar with figure skating, and they do so with a series of drawings they made in crayon. They explain that Yuri's Grand Prix assignments are at the Cup of China, where he'll compete against Pichit, and the Rostelkum Cup, where he will compete against Yuri. Though everyone's excited for Yuri, he remembers that since he placed low in the last nationals, he'll need to compete in regional competitions in order to qualify for this year's nationals in order to be able to compete in the Grand Prix, which Yuko explains to the audience. The triplets mention that Yuri will have to compete against Kenjiro Minami, who is a rising star among young Japanese skaters. Skate 5. Face Beat Red? It's the first competition, the Chugoku, Shikoku, and Kyushu Championship. The championship begins with a drawing that determines the order that the skaters will perform their short program in. To his dismay, Yuri draws first. While Yuri skates, he becomes nervous as the audience's response to him is only lukewarm. After he finishes performing Eros, scoring a personal best of 94.36, Victor tells him that he was too preoccupied with perfecting his jumps in the second half of the program, which caused his performance to become sloppy. Victor scolds Yuri and advises him to lower the difficulty of the jumps in the free skate so he can perfect his presentation instead of focusing too much on his jumps. After the conclusion of the short programs, Minami reveals to Yuri that his short program costume was based off of one of Yuri's old costumes. Yuri becomes embarrassed and remarks that it was a costume from his dark past. Hearing this, Minami becomes upset and tells Yuri not to make fun of him admiring and trying to catch up to Yuri. Here, Yuri realizes Minami was a skater who had beaten him in nationals the previous year. Skate 6, China's On, the Grand Prix Series opening event, the Cup of China short program. Yuri advises Victor to hurry lest they miss their flight to Beijing, and the two wave goodbye to the Katsuki and Nishigori families. While on the plane, Victor lightheartedly complains about flying economy class when Yuri says that he wants to nap, but falls asleep on Yuri's shoulder. The results of the first two men's single Grand Prix series events are announced. The narrator announces that the third event, the Cup of China, would begin the next day, and repeats Yuri's theme for the season as love. The scene cuts to an interview with Yuri, who is unable to answer how much power of love he has. Aboard, Victor urges Yuri to hurry to eat hot pot, then suddenly catches sight of Yakov walking alongside Georgie. Victor invites Yakov for hot pot, but Yakov ends up angrily reprimanding Victor. Victor doesn't seem rustled by this development and leaves with Yuri for dinner. At the restaurant, Victor is overjoyed at all the Chinese cuisine and asks Yuri to try some. Yuri politely declines and starts pondering about the press conference where he revealed his season's theme. Yuri is startled when his name is called and sees Pichit waving to him. Pichit asks Yuri whether or not he could call Celestino over. Yuri is uncomfortable at the mention, but Celestino turns up anyway and is insistently offered some raw shrimp by Victor. The next day, fans have spotted the risque photo of Victor kissing Yuri's cheek uploaded. Yuri becomes nervous about appearing like he had been fooling around the competition, but his thoughts are interrupted when Christoph greets Yuri by stroking Yuri's hind. Christoph asks why he had not been invited for hot pot, then changes the subject, commenting that Yuri had gotten into shape thanks to Victor. Yuri, who's watching from the waiting room, recalls that Pichit had wanted to skate to this song for a long time and notes that Pichit is doing his best this season. The next skater is Guang Hong, who had placed third in Skate America. Yuri, still backstage, is no longer watching the short program and has become determined to do well after watching Pichit skate. While jogging around the aisle, Yuri thinks to himself that people would never be satisfied with his skating if they compared him to Victor or to his old self, and thus hopes to be hated from taking Victor from competitive skating. Chris, who's warming up as well, notices Yuri pacing and asks Victor if Yuri's alright, but Victor, who had been watching Yuri interestedly, quiets Chris and mentions that he had never seen Yuri in such a state before. At the rink, Victor gives Yuri a short talk, telling Yuri that the latter should no longer have to seduce Victor by picturing pork cutlet bowls and women, believing that Yuri could show off his own charm. Victor asks for confirmation if Yuri could picture it by himself and grips Yuri's hand. Yuri pauses for a while before clasping Victor's hand tighter and presses his forehead onto Victor's. Yuri grimly asks Victor to not take his eyes off Yuri, and proceeds to skate into the middle of the rink. Victor watches Yuri while touching his forehead where Yuri's forehead had pressed against, musing that Yuri is different today, and wonders what had caused Yuri to change. Yuri begins his performance by licking his lips and smiling at Victor, to Victor's surprise. While he skates, the announcers point out that his image has changed from previous skates, and that living with Victor might have changed Yuri mentally. Yuri skates his step sequence, believing that people think that the image is not like him, but that they wanted to see the new version of Yuri. Yuri nails his first 2 jumps, which includes a quad salchow that he rarely landed in competitions. Yuri tells himself that he's the only one that could satisfy Victor and understands Victor's love, and executes a quad triple combination jump to prove it. Yuri completes the short program with the highest technical score so far in history, netting himself a new personal best and a standing ovation from the audience. Victor joins Yuri at the kiss and cry and asks Yuri if the latter felt great. Yuri responds by saying that he had hoped everyone enjoyed his performance. Yuri's short program score is announced, putting him in first place with a score over 100. Yuri squints his eyes to see the score, but Victor pulls Yuri into a hug and ruffles Yuri's hair, reassuring Yuri that everyone would feel great to watch such a performance. Skate 7, China's On. The Grand Prix Series opening event, the Cup of China Free Skate. Yuri listens to his family and friends congratulating him on his short program and encouraging him for his free skate. He's already very nervous, and this makes him even more nervous. Due to stress, Yuri barely sleeps the day before the event. He comes to the rink exhausted and is unable to close a water bottle. Victor, noticing this, tells him to take a nap and drags Yuri into a bed, collapsing on top of him. Yuri, shocked, asks him if he's set an alarm. Yuri comes back to the rink later, still nervous but more rested. Victor tells Yuri to avoid doing any jumps during the warm-up as he feels that if Yuri misses any, his confidence will drop further. Yuri does a jump regardless and fails it. When Guanhong's free skate begins, Yuri begins panicking even more due to stress and anxiety. When the announcer mentions Guanhong doing a successful jump, Yuri becomes even more pressured and turns off the TVs for watching the free skate. Victor notices this behavior as well as the TV crew filming him and guides Yuri downstairs to the garage to calm Yuri down. When it's nearly Yuri's turn for his free skate, Victor's attempt to shatter Yuri's heart results in Yuri breaking down, crying, and confessing that he feels nervous because people would judge Victor based on how well Yuri performs. Yuri also mentions that he had been wondering whether Victor secretly wanted to quit and denies Victor's offer to kiss him to make him feel better. Yuri then says Victor should believe in him, even if Yuri didn't believe in himself. Yuri then does his free skate, Yuri on Ice. As noted by Victor, he's unnaturally calm, but to everyone else's surprise, Yuri does a quad flip, which is an advanced jump and Viktor Nikiforov's signature move. After Yuri's free skate, Victor kisses Yuri and tells him that the kiss was the only way to surprise him more than Yuri has surprised Victor. Skate 8, Yuri vs. Yuri the Horror, Rostelcom Cup, short program. At an elevator, Yuri presses the button waiting for it to come. As he does this, Seung-gil Lee walks up and begins waiting for it too. Yuri nervously thinks to himself that unlike the Cup of China, there's no one there that he's friendly with. As the elevator arrives, Yuri witnesses Mikhail Crispino, his younger twin sister Sarah Crispino, and Emil Nicola seem to be having a heated discussion. As they continue arguing, Yuri sneaks off to the adjacent elevator. As the door is about to close, Yuri sticks his foot in and asks why he's sneaking around. Yuri says that it's been a while. The pair awkwardly stand in the elevator together before Yuri wishes him good luck at the Rostelcom Cup. Yuri tells Yuri that he'll suffer a miserable defeat there in Moscow and that he's going to have Victor stay in Russia. Though Yuri doesn't seem bothered by this and continues to smile at Yuri, after thinking it over, he begins to worry. He thinks to himself that if he can't rank higher than 4th in that event, he won't make it to the Grand Prix final. He wonders what Victor will do if he doesn't. The crowd begins cheering for Victor as the announcer tells how Yuri won 2nd place in the Cup of China with the power of love, and wonders what kind of performance he'll give now. Victor happily waves to the crowd before Yuri suddenly pulls Victor close to his face using his tie. Blushing, Yuri says that the performance has already begun. Victor says that he's right. Yuri tells him not to worry as he'll show his love to the whole of Russia before he skates away. Yuri thinks that he was really embarrassed as he starts his skate, but he knows that before the crowd can intimidate him in enemy territory, he has to intimidate them. Yuri begins his performance starting by licking his lips and blowing a kiss. The announcer introduces him as 23 and from Japan, and that he's skating to On Love, Eros. He says that Yuri has been beating his short program personal bests since even the first in the series, but that he'll need to finish 4th or higher to advance to the Grand Prix final. Yuri thinks that if he loses at the Rostelcom Cup, it may become the last time he can skate in that program with Victor as his coach. He thinks that maybe no one in Russia or even the entire world wants him to win, and by thinking that, it runs chills down his spine, but he knows that he's the only one who can change that world. Hisashi announces that his first planned jump is a triple axel from a spread eagle. He completes this cleanly. He then completes a quadruple salcho. Smiling from the side, Victor cheers him on. He then does a quadruple toe loop, triple toe loop, nailing his combinations. From the sidelines, Yuri's taken aback by Yuri's improvement since the Hot Springs on Ice event. After this, Yuri flawlessly completes his performance and the crowd gives him a standing ovation. Yuri waves as people throw stuffed animals and food onto the ice. He thinks to himself that his skating must have gotten his message across. Yuri steps outside upon receiving a phone call from home, where his sister informs him that Makachin has choked on some meat buns at home and is not doing well. Yuri tells Victor to return to Japan immediately, but Victor is shown to be conflicted, as going back to be with his dog will mean that Yuri will be without a coach for his free skate. Victor then asks Yakov to coach for Yuri while Victor is gone, which leaves everyone in the room in a state of shock. Skate 9, Yuri vs. Yuri the Horror, Rostelcom Cup, free program. At an interview, Hisashi Moroka asks Yuri about his morning practice with Yakov and why Yuri didn't seem to talk with him. Yuri quickly replies that he will continue to do what he and Victor have usually done in practices. Yuri begins his program thinking about how he doesn't want people to think that Victor's coaching has gone to waste. He performs his first jump, a quadruple toe loop, but flubs the second jump in the combination, a double toe loop, by turning it into a single. Yuri tries to calm himself down. As he performs his quadruple salto, he thinks about Victor and how Victor's confidence in him is what brought him so far. He 2-foot lands his triple loop. Back on the ice, Yuri thinks about how Yuri looked like he wasn't going to complete his last 3-jump combo, calling him an idiot and stating that he himself has more stamina than Yuri. Yuri performs a triple axel. He then states that whether Victor is out there or not, the program is just as difficult. He then performs a triple axel single loop, triple salto combination, and a triple lutz, triple toe loop combination. On his last combination, he touches down. After he ends his program, he collapses on the ice. He states in his mind that this has been his hardest performance so far. He receives a score of 172.87, bringing him to a total of 282.84. Yakov, meanwhile, is lecturing Yuri about his performance in the kiss and cry, just like Victor did. Yuri zones out and hugs Yakov and thanks him in Russian. As Yuri approaches from the other end of the hall, Sarah runs up to him, congratulating him on his qualification for the Grand Prix final. She offers him a hug, and to Mikhail's displeasure, Yuri takes it. Mikhail demands what Yuri's doing, outraged. However, to his surprise, Yuri goes to hug him too. This makes him scream in terror. Yuri then proceeds to hug Emil, Seong-gil, and JJ. JJ! This JJ style! He tries to hug Yuri too, but Yuri runs away. In the end, everyone is, at the least, slightly bewildered by Yuri's actions. Yuri is later outside on the sidewalk thinking about his skating career. He thinks about how he now really wants to win gold at the Grand Prix final, and that he'll make Victor step down as a coach afterwards if he doesn't win. As Yuri is lost in his thoughts, he doesn't notice Yuri approaching him until Yuri kicks him and sends him flying. Yuri then throws a paper bag filled with pierogies at Yuri, ordering him to eat right there. They turn out to be his grandfather's pork cutlet pierogies, and Yuri with a smile states that they're great. Yuri agrees with him. At the Fukuoka airport, as Yuri is walking towards the terminal exit, Victor's dog Makachin approaches the glass and barks at him. Yuri gasps to himself and realizes that the dog is alive and well. He looks up and sees Victor, who also sees him and quickly stands up. They both begin running towards the door, and Yuri runs into Victor's arms. They embrace each other tightly, having not seen each other for a whole day. Victor tells Yuri that he's been thinking about what he can do as a coach from now on, and Yuri asks Victor to take care of him until he retires. Victor smiles and kisses Yuri's hand, telling Yuri that his request sounds almost like a marriage proposal. They embrace again, and Victor tells Yuri that he wishes that Yuri will never retire, to which Yuri responds by saying that they will win gold together at the Grand Prix final. Skate 10, Gotta Supercharge It, Pre-Grand Prix Final Special. Victor introduces the final of the 6 qualifiers of the Grand Prix final as Yuri Katsuki, who has just woken up to an empty hotel room. Yuri is surprised to find Victor gone and checks his Instagram feed. Yuri lies back down and pictures the success of the other skaters in the previous cup, only to be reminded of his failure the last time he competed in the Grand Prix final. His train of thought is interrupted when Victor and Chris burst into the hotel room, clinging onto Yuri for warmth and demanding a hot bath and coffee. The next day, after practice ends at the rink, the skaters disperse at their leisure. Victor suggests getting a good night's sleep after practice, but Yuri argues against him, saying that he wants to go sightseeing, which Victor agrees to. The two of them take pictures and enjoy lunch together. While Yuri takes a break during sightseeing and shopping, Victor wonders if Yuri's nervous, and offers to buy him a suit for his birthday. They leave the area, neither of them noticing that they have left one of their bags on the bench. Afterwards, Yuri and Victor realize that they had left their bag of nuts earlier, but the bag has now disappeared. Yuri offers to buy more nuts for Victor, but Victor insists on going back to rest. The two end up at a Christmas market where Yuri asks Victor what he wants as a birthday present, seeing as Victor's birthday also falls on Christmas Day. Victor replies that he didn't really celebrate either occasion back in Russia, but curiously observes Yuri, who seems to be looking for something. Yuri asks Victor to follow him into a jewelry shop where Yuri purchases a pair of rings. Having headed to a church building, Yuri removes Victor's right glove and slides one of the gold rings onto Victor's ring finger. He thanks Victor for everything, also asking Victor to wish him luck. Victor tells Yuri to show him the skating that Yuri likes the best, and he slips the matching gold ring onto Yuri's right ring finger while he says so. The pair leave to grab dinner and run into Mari and Minako. Yuri and Victor invite Yuri, Otabek, Pichit, and Chris for dinner, to the overwhelming delight of Mari and Minako. Yuri shares his thoughts about how it was strange for them to be eating together, as he was too shy to mingle with the other skaters at last year's Grand Prix final banquet, to which Victor spits out his beer in shock. Chris reveals that Yuri had gotten drunk on champagne and started dancing with Yuri, Chris, and a Pole. A flashback to the banquet showed Yuri being dragged there by Celestino, and that Yuri drank 16 glasses of champagne when left alone in the corner. Victor and Chris share videos and pictures of Yuri at the banquet to Otabek, Pichit, Mari, and Minako, while Yuri vehemently tries to stop them. It's then that Chris catches sight of the rings on Yuri and Victor's fingers and questions them about it. Yuri tries to hide the rings at first, but Victor happily states that the rings are a pair. Pichit, overcome with happiness, congratulates Yuri and Victor on their marriage and announces to the whole restaurant that his good friend had gotten married. The other people in the restaurant applaud in response, while Yuri tries and fails to explain himself to everyone around him. Victor clarifies that it's an engagement ring, and the two will get married once Yuri wins gold. Yuri turns to see the four skaters pondering Victor's words seriously, and starts sweating nervously. Skate 11, Gotta Supercharge It, Grand Prix Final Short Program. The 6 finalists of the Grand Prix series are first shown in order or qualification rankings. The Grand Prix Final Short Program then begins, starting with Yuri. Before Yuri begins his short program, Victor kisses Yuri's ring to the awe of the audience. Sarah wonders aloud about why Yuri and Victor have matching rings, and Mikhail wishes aloud that he and Sarah could have matching rings. Emil, who sits with the siblings, cheers loudly for Yuri. Yuri flashes his ring at Victor and takes his place in the middle of the rink. Victor kisses his own ring, and Yuri does the same. For the Grand Prix final, he modified his program to include a quadruple flip, a jump that he has low success in completing. Despite this, he decided that it was the only way he will be able to keep up with JJ, who has a very high base technical score for his program. Yuri is able to nail almost every jump throughout the short program. However, as he executes the quadruple flip for the final jump, with Victor copying him from the sidelines, Yuri touches down on the ice with one hand and breaks down on the ice in disappointment after his performance. When the scores are announced, Yuri is visibly upset and angry and doesn't notice Victor smiling at him. Pichit takes to the ice for the next short program. Yuri, with a serious expression, admires his friend from the kiss and cry until Yuri kicks both him and Victor off the seat. Yuri enters the rink for the next short program. Behind the scenes, Yuri discovers that Victor has gone off and eventually finds him watching Yuri's performance. Victor is shown to be bothered by Yuri's success, which hints that he still misses his career as a competitive skater. Victor invites Yuri to look for his seats in the audience for Chris's short program, where he finds seats beside Sarah, Mikhail, and Emil. Yuri watches Victor paying close attention to Chris's performance and becomes downcast as he makes an unspecified conclusion. Even though Chris under-rotates his final jump, he scores higher than Yuri for the program. Back at the hotel after the competition, Yuri sits together with Victor in their shared room, where Victor asks Yuri what the latter had wanted to talk about. Yuri responds by smiling and clenching his fists. He says, "After the finals, let's end this," while thinking to himself that the final event he and Victor will face together is about to begin. Final skate, Gotta Supercharge It, Grand Prix final, free skate. At their hotel, Yuri thanks Victor for everything he's done for him as a coach, but reveals that he's planning to retire after the Grand Prix final. In response, Victor breaks into tears and asks how Yuri expects him to skate again if Yuri himself is going to quit. Though the conflict between them remains unresolved, they agree to make their own decisions after the free skate ends. Before Yuri performs, Victor gives him words of encouragement, but Yuri tells Victor that trying so hard to sound like a coach isn't staying true to himself. In response, Victor states that he took a break after becoming a 5-time world champion just to coach Yuri, and he really wants to kiss a gold medal. Yuri laughs at this and hugs Victor in response. During his free skate, Yuri remembers that he had always wanted to catch up to Victor. His second jump is a quadruple salto, which Yuri taught him to do back in Japan. He changes his triple loop to a triple flip, wanting his program to have the same difficulty as Victor's. When Yuri performs a quadruple salto in place of a triple flip, it shocks the audience as well as Victor. As Yuri skates, he wishes to remain skating with Victor forever, but feels that having Victor continuing to coach him would cause Victor's competitive skating career to degrade, and instead silently begs everyone to see the Victor that now lives inside of him. Yuri nails Victor's signature quadruple flip for his last jump, which reduces Victor to tears of joy. The performance ends with Yuri reaching out his free hand towards Victor. Having delivered a flawless performance, Yuri shouts in elation and tears up. Victor calls Yuri to come over to him at the kiss and cry, but Yuri secretly wishes that he didn't have to go, believing that everything would be over once he did. Victor reassures Yuri at the kiss and cry that Yuri's skate was perfect. Yuri receives a score that breaks Victor's free skate world record. Victor embraces Yuri, saying that as a coach, it was the ultimate happiness that both Yuri and Yuri had topped his records, but also the ultimate humiliation as a competitor. At this, Yuri's eyes light up, excited that Victor would return to competitive skating, at which Victor confirms this with a smile. The final scores are announced, with Yuri placing first, followed by Yuri, Jean-Jacques, Otapek, Chris, and Pichit. Yuri is proud to be standing on the podium, but Yuri wears a disgruntled expression even after having gotten a gold medal, disappointed that he had not been able to top Yuri's free skate score. Yuri delivers his silver medal to Victor, who smiles but tells Yuri that he doesn't want to kiss it unless it was gold. Victor jokes that he had failed as a coach and presses Yuri to the wall of the ice rink, asking Yuri if he had any suggestions that would make Victor's heart race. At this, Yuri gulps, leading Victor to ask what Yuri was thinking. Yuri blushes but pushes Victor down into a hug and begs Victor to stay with him for one more competitive season so that he could win a gold medal. Victor's eyes light up and he tells Yuri not to stop there, asking Yuri to become a 5-time world champion in exchange for having to coach Yuri while staying on as a competitive skater as he places the silver medal around Yuri's neck. Yuri clutches the medal tightly and tearfully agrees. Did you enjoy your video? Be sure to check out these other great videos from the Amagi, and make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. I'm Adrian, thanks for watching.